Welcome to Fortnightly Astrology and Cosmic Weather Report. This is Fiona Aedgar and Greg Simpson. So Greg Simpson, you can find out everything about him over at radiantcreators.com. And then Fiona, let's see, you can be found, everything is there at FionaAedgar.com, FionaAedgar.com. So you probably know who we are if you're listening. So you probably got all that covered already anyway. Fiona, how are you doing in this mostly not burning world?
I'm doing fine. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I've had a few Mars retrograde type of things happen, but other than that, I've just been chugging along nicely. How about you?
Doing good. You know, I had to take a trip from here in Arizona up to Seattle and back. This last couple days was kind of a mad dash. I drove; it just worked better. So I got to see the entire burning West Coast, Arizona, California, Oregon, and Seattle. Well, Washington, of course. And it's really something. The west side of the country really is on fire. The smoke was incredibly dense, probably not too good for my health. I'm kind of recovering from, mild smoke inhalation, I think. The forest fires got a little close once, and it made me realize it's kind of a reality check. I was going through a town in, I forget which state it was. It's all kind of a blur now, but the fires had just been put out as I pulled in, and they were opening the highway, but you couldn't exit anywhere. And I could see buildings burned on the side of the road, and it was really intense. You could still feel the fire, the heat from the fire, and the utility people were fixing phone lines and phone lines, I believe it would be, maybe power lines. But it was amazing how there were people who were just literally running, hopping in their cars and running from that fire. It happened so quickly. So it's been interesting. And, Mars retrograde, well, as we go into Mars retrograde, I can tell you firsthand that the west side of this country of America is definitely experiencing some Mars retrograde energy. And of course, it does appear that some of that might be foul play. But that's still early on. We're not totally sure how much of it, but definitely some of it appears to have been foul play. So, the little evil people are at work. So I know
Yep.
we were going to talk about the next 2 weeks. That's going to be the fortnight. So the week of the 14th, it's Monday the 14th, and of course the week of the 21st next week. And I guess we were going to also focus on Mars retrograde because, well, it's affecting the world for sure, and each of us individually.
Yeah. So the energy of Mars retrograde is a bit like being stuck in your car at 5 p.m. In a traffic jam. It's really hot outside. Your air conditioning in your car isn't working. The stereo is stuck on a country song that you hate, and it's replaying over and over again. You have somewhere that you have to be at 5:30, but you know that you're not going to make it until 6 o'clock. That's pretty much the energy of Mars retrograde. It's a lot of frustration. It's a lot of blockages, delays. Stuff's not going as fast as you would like it. You really want to get going because Mars is a planet of action, but you're just not able to go anywhere. So it's not the best time to be starting new projects right now because it's not going to, it's not going to go ahead as you would like or work out as you would like. So the same kind of rules apply to Mars retrograde as Mercury retrograde rules, which is don't get married during Mars retrograde, don't start a new job, or try your best not to. But yeah, it's just that feeling of frustration. And well, I did say a couple of months ago that I did expect there to be some extreme weather around Mars retrograde in Aries because it's a fire sign, and I said that I expected to see a lot of forest fires, things like that. And we're certainly seeing that, especially in the States. Over here, it's got we've had a mini heat wave as well, so I'm not complaining about that because our summer was rubbish. So let's talk a little bit about what Mars retrograde means for each of the signs.
Perfect.
This is quite general. I tend not to do sun sign astrology because it's too general. Like your individual Mars retrograde story, the specifics of it, they are going to be found in your birth chart. So look at your birth chart, see where Mars in Aries is transiting. It's at the very late degrees of Aries. So if you have any planets towards the end of the degrees, then Mars is doing something to one of those planets. So Aries people, you can also check your rising sign. That would be useful also. Aries, Mars in Aries is going retrograde through your first house. The first house is connected to your identity. And this is quite a big thing for Aries people. This can actually indicate that a big life change is coming. So when a planet is retrograde, it's giving us an opportunity to go over something, to complete something that we didn't have the opportunity to do before, we didn't get it done before. So there's nothing to be worried about. You know, it's going to benefit you. The retrograde will benefit you in the end, as long as you pay attention and do kind of the work that you're supposed to be doing. But for Aries people, yes, there could potentially be a big change coming up for them in December or January. And, you know, it should be a pretty positive change. But right now, Aries people are feeling frustrated. They tend to be impatient at the best of times. So a lot of their activities aren't happening for them as fast as they would like. On to Taurus. So for Taurus people, the Mars retrograde is moving through their 12th house. The 12th house is connected to solitude, uh, past lives, institutions such as hospitals, prisons, things like that. So Mars retrograde is really going to be making Taurus people feel like they are zapped of their energy. They will be taking a lot of downtime. That's exactly what they're supposed to be doing. So don't I know like Taurus people, they're very productive, they like to work very hard, but at times they need to let themselves take a break from that. The universe is trying to encourage them to do that because they have probably overworked themselves or they're feeling like majorly stressed out, and maybe they have some anxiety issues going on. So Taurus people, you need to meditate, go and sit outside in the grass, go and sit by the ocean, just take some time out. So Gemini people, Mars will be retrograde through your 11th house of friendships, groups, hopes and dreams that you have for the future. So if you had a dream that you wanted to, say you wanted to start a business or something like that, but this whole COVID thing has thrown a spanner in the works for you, Gemini, you need to kind of finalize some details, maybe your plans, you need to go over them again. Potentially you may be having issues with some of your friends, Gemini, and there's possibly like a frenemy, a friend that has become your enemy or whatever, for whatever reason they come back into your life. So that's the thing, that during retrogrades people from the past can re-emerge. So is it a good idea to let them back in again? Well, if they've betrayed you before, then they will do it again. So on to Cancer people and Cancer rising. Mars is going retrograde through your 10th house of career. You may be having some frustrations in connection to your job. Maybe your work is slowed down a little. That's a possibility for Cancer people. Mars retrograde slows everything down. Maybe you're not getting very many clients all of a sudden because it's September. The kids are going back to school, and your business isn't flowing as quickly as it usually would be, but you're supposed to be giving yourself a bit of a break here. So Cancer people need to like not put too much pressure on themselves to within their job and their career, but they may have a boss that's like breathing down their necks about something, giving them a hard time, or just someone really irritating that they have to deal with every day at work. So Leo, Mars retrograde is moving backwards through or appears to be moving backwards through your ninth house. This house is connected to foreign travel. It's connected to higher learning, like university courses. It's also connected to the beliefs that you have. So quite possibly, you there are a couple of different ways that this could manifest for you, Leo. Maybe someone is giving you a hard time about your beliefs, your spiritual beliefs, and you're trying to hold your temper in and not retaliate. That's going to get really frustrating for you. So the best thing to do is to be assertive. Don't try to keep it in. Don't take any crap from this person. um, so another possibility through this house is that some kind of course that you're going to take has been delayed, and that also applies to travel as well. Maybe you had a holiday or vacation planned, and again, because of COVID, it's been delayed. So my advice to you, Leo, is to stay at home, or stay within your country or your immediate environment, and learn something new, learn a new skill, learn astrology, learn the tarot, do something like that. So Virgo, this is quite a significant Mars retrograde for you, because Mars retrograde is moving through your eighth house. So the eighth house is connected to transformation, life changes. It's also connected to joint finances that you had with your partner, joint money. Maybe you're going through a divorce and there's like issues over the divorce settlements. Maybe your partner's income suddenly falls away, or they lose their job. Many people are losing their jobs through this crisis that we're in at the moment. Uh, but this is really a time of transformation for you, Virgo. You may be feeling irritated. Um, your temper may be shorter than usual. The eighth house can also be about power struggles. Maybe you feel like you're in a power struggle with someone, but there is an opportunity here for you to transform through this. And it's not all. Another thing for Virgo is that your sexual drive may be weaker than normal, and actually that applies to everyone, because Mars is the planet of sex. And when it's retrograde, we don't have as much sexual energy as we usually would. Sexual energy is incredibly powerful. All of the ancients knew about sex magic and the Kundalini. When you hold that within yourself and you don't release it, it's very powerful. That energy works towards manifesting something, manifesting your dreams. So that's an ancient secret but people don't know about that now. And of course, modern world is designed to encourage you to let's say certain activities on the internet, and you're just basically wasting all of that precious energy that you could be pouring into something. So Libra, Mars is going retrograde in your seventh house of partnerships. That could be your marriage, your business partner. There may be some issues between you and your spouse at the moment, but Libra, please do not be passive aggressive here, because that is something that you have a tendency to do. So be assertive, and if there's any issues in your marriage, you need to talk about them. That's going to give you a really good opportunity to heal something within your relationship. This could also be to do with clients or any business partners that you have. So Scorpio, Mars is going retrograde through your sixth house. This is going to deplete your energy levels somewhat. You are going to be feeling that not as energetic as you usually would. So that's okay. Take some time for yourself, but you really need to come up with a better plan for your health, Scorpio and Scorpio rising. You need to look at your diet. because something is in there that shouldn't be, and it's causing issues with your energy levels. So the Mars retrograde is going to increase that feeling until you fix it. There could also be issues with your animals, like your pets, like any cats or dogs that you have, because this house number 6 is connected to pets. So maybe your dog starts acting up and barking, and like maybe it's like tried to tear off the postman's leg off or something like that. So on to Sagittarius. Mars is going retrograde in your 5th house. And the 5th house is connected to your kids. If you have any kids, there may be Mars retrograde stuff going on. Maybe you're having issues with what they're being taught at school. You're thinking about homeschooling them, but you can't really decide. Maybe they want to vaccinate your kids and you just don't want that. So those are all issues that you could be experiencing. Sagittarius, the Mars retrograde is really trying to stimulate your creativity. So Sagittarians hate feeling boxed in. They want to be free. They want to travel. They want to experience different cultures. So if they're in a country that is very restrictive right now, they're not going to be having a good time. Like over in Australia, Sagittarians will be having a really rough time. So it's time to indulge your kind of creativity in other ways. Meditate, paint, do something that you wouldn't normally do. Capricorn, Mars retrograde is moving back through your 4th house. The 4th house is connected to your home, where you live. It's also connected to your family, especially on the maternal side, and motherhood. You may be having issues with, where you live. There could be a problem with that. I would not advise you to do any renovations or DIY when Mars is retrograde, because it's likely to come with a whole host of issues. So avoid that. But you may also be doing some work about your on your childhood. Maybe you're doing some kind of therapy on that, and it's bringing up memories for you, and they're not so pleasant memories. That's also a possibility. Aquarius, Craig, you're an Aquarius, right?
I am an Aquarius sun, but I am a
Yes,
Cancer
okay.
rising. Yeah.
That's right, yeah. So this Mars retrograde there are a couple of different possibilities. Mars retrograde in the 3rd house can create some kind of problem with your siblings or your cousins. It's not a huge deal. It's not something that um it's something that if you don't deal with it and knock it on the head immediately, it's going to become a bigger issue. So just watch out for that. You could also have maybe some issues with your neighbors. The 3rd house would be people that live nearby. So maybe they have like an annoying dog that barks all the time, or their kid is like,
Construction. Oh gosh.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
We're living next to construction right now, so yeah, that's definitely happening. They're
Yeah.
demolishing the house next door, so it's like,
Oh.
and it's attached to this one, so it's and
Oh,
these are all cement houses. So they do it with jackhammers, really slowly. So,
wow.
yeah.
So it's totally accurate for you then, like.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense. Makes total sense. So your lesson as well through this Mars retrograde is to definitely um speak out as well, because the 3rd house is connected to communication, the way that you communicate. And when Mars is retrograde, we can keep some things in. We tend to keep them in, but then what happens is you keep them in for a couple of weeks, and then there's like an explosion. So that tends to happen, especially with Mars and Aries. So you watch out that doesn't happen. On to Pisces, the last sign, last but not least. Pisces, this Mars retrograde is moving backwards through your 2nd house, and this is activating some kind of problem or issue with your finances. So there may be some money issues coming up for you, but it's only really going to be until November when Mars goes direct, then we do have the shadow after that, but it shouldn't be that difficult for you to deal with. But potentially there could be a drop in your income. Maybe you're really having to curb your spending in some way, Pisces. So Mars retrograde is all about like not being able to express yourself in the way that you want, having to hold something back. So maybe you're having to be conservative with your money. Um, so do that, be prepared, because none of us really know like how long any of this nonsense is going to go on for. And the astrology for next year definitely looks like there's going to be some major financial issues throughout the globe. So Pisces, try and store some money away. And you may also be reviewing part of your moral code, your values. So maybe if you're tempted to do something that's like, you know, like not very good, not very moral, don't do it because it'll backfire on you. The retrogrades are very karmic, and that's really when you get that dose of karma from something that you did ages ago. So it's really, really not worth it. So that's the analysis of Mars retrograde for all of the signs.
Gotcha. And that would go for your sun sign. But if you know your rising, that would be more specific. Is that?
Yeah. Well, it's both
It's
really.
both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I would look at both. The most specific, uh, the most specific information is going to be found in your own birth chart.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. If people have this is a great primer, and all the info is correct. But for sure, people who have interest definitely check out Fiona, and because nothing is as precise as your own chart, of course. So
Yeah.
if you really want to know how Mars retrograde is going to affect you specifically, then get with Fiona, because this is a powerful thing. I look at this retrograde, and we're already seeing just fires here in the US, and also it's funny how you mentioned for Pisces, there being a bit of a karmic review. And so I was just in Seattle, and Seattle is a Piscean city. And it, if you look at it, I went back, and I haven't been there for years, went back and looked at it, drove around, and you realize it is in a way kind of going through a karmic review, you might say,
Mm.
as a city, as a place, because there's all kinds of upheaval there, all kinds of change there. But it's very dreamy, it's very Piscean, it's very artistic, it's also very delusional, it's all the best and worst of Pisces. And it seems like it's kind of it's been going through a bit of a dark night of the soul, like with the whole Chaz thing and the riots. It's coming to terms with its own shadow, you might say. It's one of
Mhm.
those times in life where everything just sucks. But on the other end of it, you know, I can already begin to see sort of the Seattle uh, uh, better emergence. So anyhow, I can just say, if you're feeling extreme at this time with this retrograde, just realize, think about Seattle. It being a Piscean city and what it's going through. If you're familiar with Seattle here in the U.S., just Google it. If not, that's where we've had a lot of one of the top cities where we've had riots and nonsense recently. And it's really astrology, it's really cycles, and that city is powerful, and so it's going through powerful reviews, but powerful effect of the
Mhm.
cycles that we're in. So definitely get with Fiona if you feel kind of crazy, if you feel like Mars is bugging you or life's a little bit just jittery, because hey, it is affecting you. So how are the stars looking for the next 2 weeks, the next fortnight?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, let's look at that. Just before I do that, I just want to say that if you're married or in a relationship or partnership, then you should always check your composite chart that you have with your partner. It's like a combined chart, and it is the chart of the relationship itself. So you can check that to see what Mars retrograde is doing to the planets that you have with that, and whether that's going to affect your relationship in a negative way or a positive way. So it's always worth looking at.
It can say,
Okay.
yeah, it can make for a much powerful and enjoyable time, or at least if not, you'll understand why you're pissed at each other. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes, yes. And then you will also
yes.
be able to see that actually, this is just a temporary thing that we're going through. It's because Mars retrograde is squaring our composite sun. So I know that we're going to go through this thing, but we'll be okay again in November.
And you'll know how to process that because you'll understand where that difficulty, that dissonance is coming from, and you can actually get the good out of it. Astrology for the next fortnight, the next 2 weeks, starting, I guess, today, the 14th. How's it looking, Fiona?
Yeah, it looks okay. And actually, an hour from now, we're coming up to a really nice aspect. The sun is making a really nice aspect to Pluto. So we can be drawn to do some research. We can like uncover mysteries. We can have deep, intimate conversations with another person. It's a soft aspect, but you will notice it. Tomorrow, Venus is in square to Uranus. Venus is the planet of love. And when she makes a square to Uranus, unexpected events can happen within your relationship. Some people are better at dealing with that kind of unstable energy than others. Some people thrive on it, but people like maybe Taurus folks or Cancers, they don't like uh, unexpected problems. No one does, but they can't deal with it very well. So just watch out for that tomorrow. But it is a very kind of electrical energy. You can make the most of that. Go and do something exciting or do some, I don't know, go out on your motorbike if you have one, but be safe. Go and do some extreme sports, something that gets your blood pumping. So on the 16th, the sun is in square to the north node. The sun actually represents the men in our life. So your father, your boss, your husband, your brother. There may be some issues to deal with them on the 16th. They could be critical, overly critical. Maybe it's your boss breathing down your neck at work. That's also a day that we could have information overload because of the square between the mutable signs. So you may have anxiety on that day. Stay away from your electronic devices, turn them off if possible, go outside into nature and ground yourself. So on the 17th, that's a big day because we have the new moon in Virgo. It's a brand new start for Virgo people. This is like your astrological birthday. And this is a kind of a mixed bag. The new moons are when we start new projects that carry on for the next 2 weeks. It does make a like a harsh aspect to Mars retrograde. So again, just like watch your tempers for the next couple of weeks. There's going to be some frustrations. There's going to be some blockage that you have to deal with in your life. Just try to be patient. You should kind of try to release some of your pent up energies by taking part in sports, going running if you're into that. Just release that energy that's going to be building up. There are some good aspects in the new moon. So the sun is in trine to Saturn, which can give us a good opportunity to build something stable. If you take a mature approach to any of your problems, instead of losing your head, like blowing up, you're going to have an easier time. So just try and be calm, be stable, listen to Father Saturn, and don't do anything silly, and you should be fine. So on the 19th, that's when we have the next aspect. The sun is making a quincunx to Mars. Quincunx is a minor aspect, but it's still felt. You will still feel that. It's sort of like the energy of a square. It's not as bad. But and again, because Mars retrograde is involved, it's just going to be about frustrations and blockages and possibly issues with the man, a man in your life. The next major event that we have is on the 22nd of September. The sun enters the Libra. I love Libra season. I really like the sign of Libra. It does such good things to my chart, so I'm super glad for that. When the sun transits through Libra, we all feel a little bit more Libran. We become focused on our appearances. We want to look good. We want to decorate our homes. We want to be in a relationship. We want to go on date night and do things as a couple rather than be by ourselves. If you're not dating and you're single, you will want to spend time with your friends or your pets or just other people that make you feel good. On the 23rd of September, we have two different aspects. Mercury is square Saturn, and Venus is quincunx Saturn. Sorry, Mercury is quincunx Saturn. So this is a difficult day, and your conversations are not going to flow well at all with other people, and you may have issues within your relationships. It's a good day for not saying very much because you're not going to get the response from other people that you want. So it's a good day for burying yourself in a book or a movie or doing something that doesn't involve deep and meaningful conversations because you're
In the,
not going to get anything in return.
yeah, in The Godfather, there's a great line: "Silence never makes mistakes." So there you go.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah,
Unless you're
absolutely.
a guy.
So the next aspect that we have is the day after. Mercury is opposite Mars. So people are going to be Mars like, and they're going to be maybe trying to pick a fight with you. You don't have to go there if you don't want to. You can just walk away from that. But conversations again are going to be difficult. If you have anything important to say, you should probably leave it until the 27th when Mercury enters Scorpio. Mercury in Scorpio is the detective. It's really good for researching, uncovering information, uncovering secrets, researching the occult, everything that goes beneath the surface. It's also good for having very intense and probing and revealing conversations with other people. And that's pretty much it for the fortnight. Not too bad. We just have that dragging Mars retrograde energy, but the new moon is okay. There's nothing really dramatic here.
Mars entering Scorpio, or is it, oh, yeah, Mars entering Scorpio on the 27th. That's interesting. That's going to be intense as the retrograde Mars enters Scorpio.
Oh,
Scorpio.
no, did I say Mars? Sorry, it's actually Mercury.
Actually, you did say Mercury.
Yeah.
I meant Mars. I meant Mercury when I said Mars. So yeah, Mercury entering Scorpio on the 27th. That's interesting. I feel like that's going to be, Scorpio is just that deep sign. Just what I think. I think Scorpio is one of the more maybe one of the most intense signs, in the zodiac. That's going to be interesting. Mercury enters that. That is great. And you
Yeah.
mentioned the full moon I'm sorry, the new moon coming up, and it's going to be in Virgo, and and it's going to be aspecting the Mars retrograde.
Yeah, it is. It's going
Mm,
to be quincunx.
wow. And then so Libra time is starting. I like that, and we can definitely use some Libra energy because balancing those scales and interest in equilibrium and justice and such. I think that would be a good that would be a good over energy for at least America. I can say at this time we could use a little bit of that. I don't know, reason from somebody. Anybody who wants to volunteer can, you know, can do so. Oh goodness. Well, those are great stars that we have coming up, and for the cosmic weather, um, I would just have to just mention that, as I already did, I took a trip up the West Coast and back. And one of the things that I noticed when I was in Seattle, it's my old home, is uh, even though it may not appear so in the media, I think most people, like, they have no idea what's going on. A lot of us have no idea what's going on, and that's quite a state right now, because it's just something to remember that all we really know is what we're being told. And the world's a little bit crazy, especially with, you got the COVID, and you've got here in America, you've got these riots going on. And something that really struck me going to Seattle was, It is one of the most multicultural cities in America. Actually, it has the most like racially diverse zip code in the country. I used to actually live in that zip code, and to be honest with you, everybody got along fine. It's a beautiful city in that way. Um, there was some serious crime, but that's just really the gangs, and that aspect always exists. But in general, it sounds like I'm being silly, but it was almost like a utopian vision. It really worked. People got along. It is a great city. Well, when I went back, nothing's changed. It's even nicer. It's even better. Um, there's construction. There's hopefulness. People talk about difficult subjects all the time. And I made me kind of homesick. And I really enjoyed, well, this is my home now, but it made me just remember the place very, very fondly. And it made me realize how it's had the Chaz, everyone's heard of that, then like the Chop, and then it's still dealing with riots and such. But it really made me realize that these instances are not organic. They're not so much created by Seattle or our other country or our other state, Portland, or right now, unfortunately, Lancaster, Pennsylvania is dealing with this. These events are not representative of the people that live there or even the cities, even if they're kind of lefty cities like Portland and Seattle. This crap is being bussed in, and these are events that are being done to these states and to these cities. So um, I would just, something I realized was how I was kind of blaming Seattle. But then I realized that, oh yeah, it's a lefty city, I have no doubt. But at the same time, what's going on there is something that is being orchestrated and unleashed on that city. And it is not necessarily, I don't think it's organic to any city where it's happening. I really don't. And when I was there in Seattle, I was talking to people, many people, well, the few that I talked to, I should say, were like, we don't know who these people are. I don't know anybody who's rioting. I don't know anybody who is in the Chop. You know what I mean? They're like, this is happening, but I don't know anybody doing it. I don't know anybody personally who's down there, who's rioting, etc. So that's something I'd mentioned kind of cosmic weather-wise is that was a real shock to me that I had been judging sort of Seattle, maybe even Portland and such, like blaming the cities, blaming the people, when in truth, these are orchestrated events being done to these cities more so than they represent the people of that city. Like I say, even if they tend to be a bit lefty themselves anyway. And it's very unfortunate. And I was really angry because I was like, Seattle doesn't deserve that because you've got this city where an extremely multicultural city is working and people get along great. It's a wonderful place, but that it's just very frustrating. So anyway, I'm not even sure what I'm trying to say, so I'll just cut it off there. But that was really cosmic weather for me as I was realizing how, man, I was misled. Yeah, I blame the city for something that's being done to that city. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, if you said that Seattle is Pisces,
Very Pisces, yeah.
okay. If it's got a Pisces sun, then and it's in its birth chart, because everything has a birth chart, places, things. Well, Neptune is in Pisces, so it's probably having a transit. If Neptune was conjunct the sun of Seattle, there is that like confusion and the kind of communist aspect, which is very Piscean. They have no boundaries, trying to make everyone equal, but no one is equal. It sounds like it's having a transit, so it would be really interesting to look at the chart of Seattle, to see what's going on there.
Yeah, I'll have to see if I can. I'm sure I can find a date somewhere to kind that kind of creates a moment in time when Seattle was Seattle. I'm sure I could do that because there's a lot going on there. But yeah, it was a real astounding moment for me just to realize that it's important to maybe like at this time realize how we can all be misled, but we're all misled. All of us believe something that's not true, or a good number of things that are not true, and to go easy on ourselves and others and realize that give yourself and others room to realize falsehood. I mean, that's the thing. I think that's just kind of wisdom and that's intellectual honesty, really, where anybody who's put any effort into life whatsoever, and then of course, especially people who have not, are all going to realize that they've been misled. I just think some people, they just go, well, I believe this, I won't be wrong, I won't admit to being misled, so I'll just double down. Or maybe the wiser person just goes, oh, I believe some bullshit, and not the first time. you know, I'll just keep on moving on a little bit wiser. And that's kind of how I was with Seattle. I was like, man, this is being done to them. This is not necessarily reflective of the beautiful culture, the beautiful city that actually is Seattle.
Yeah. And with the North Node currently transiting through Gemini, we are all being asked to make way for new information, to not be so rigid with or dogmatic about our beliefs. So it's something that we should all be doing at this moment.
That's powerful. And have you noticed, this is something that we've just noticed over here, is that so many people that we know are going through uh, the past. They're dealing with things that they have maybe had to need. Sorry, I'm stammering. People are dealing with issues maybe they've had to for their whole lives or a long time. Definitely deep-seated issues. It seems like they're coming up for people. Like my trip to Seattle was to deal with some old family business that I had to, and that all went fine. But it definitely was a pilgrimage, and everyone I know, without, well, I say most people I know so far, they're all going through some kind of a big upheaval with their past. They're clearing up things that have been keeping them stuck. It does seem like there's no choice but, grab that shovel and clear your sidewalk right now.
Yeah. Yeah, we all have to let go of that baggage that's been like a dead weight energetically for years. So this Mars retrograde, it's the first time that Mars has been retrograde in Aries since 1988. So what trauma have you been carrying since then? What didn't you process around that time? Maybe you were too young. I was 8 years old then, and I've been going through some childhood stuff to process it properly, because when you're a kid you don't have the ability to, so people just tend to store it away, and then we live it out again over and over again. That's the way that trauma works. So yeah, I think a lot of people are being forced to face any fears that they have, or just stuff that they need to put to rest.
Yeah, so don't feel like you are alone if you're doing that, but it's good. It's good to do, at least that's one of the beautiful things about astrology, is that when these times come up, especially now like a Mars retrograde, very powerful time, it helps you understand. And then rather than just be melancholy, rather than just have difficult times, you're able to use that dark night of the soul, if that's what it comes to, and actually glean the wisdom and the power and the growth that you can out of it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The sky is a map, it's a guide. So if you follow that closely, you'll always know where to go. It will never guide you to the wrong place.
Mm, I love that. It's very true. Well, that's my, cosmic weather for recently. That was a big one that I noticed, and not sure if I articulated it perfectly or not, but did my best to
You
get it out
did.
there. you know. And how about you? Is there anything that you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I actually pulled a couple of cards
Yes, I'm
for
sorry, I forgot
everyone.
that. I forgot that. I'll blame Mars retrograde for that. Okay, let's look at the cards for this fortnight. Always an exciting time. How is it looking?
Yes. Yeah, okay. So the cards that I pulled for everyone, I got the Queen of Pentacles, the Five of Wands, and the Empress. So right off the bat, a couple of different scenarios are coming into my head. The first one is that this Queen of Pentacles woman, so she's Virgo, Capricorn, or Taurus, or she has like a lot of she has like a very strong earthy energy. And this Empress is her mother, or is like a boss or an older sister. They have been separated for they have had an issue together, they have fallen out, or they have had an argument. And this has been going on now for, I think, at least 5 years. So someone isn't speaking to their mother. They've cut them out because of some kind of like issue or disagreement or toxicity. There are many different people involved in this. I feel like there are other family members. There are at least 5 other people here. So it's like a family feud that has got out of hand. Sometimes it's justified. Sometimes you do need to cut out your, like, your mom or your dad, if it's really toxic or abusive. Sometimes it isn't, and it's two very willful people that have let other people come between them. So if this resonates with anyone, this is going to be brought up again for you to deal with during Mars retrograde. They have their backs to each other. These two women have their backs to each other. They don't want to talk, but maybe someone should reach out to the other one, because I think that they're both missing out by not by not speaking to each other. The other possibility is that these two are old enemies. Okay, so the Queen of Pentacles and this Empress. The Empress can be a mother, someone that's pregnant currently, or someone that runs their own business. A successful woman. She is usually a mature woman, but someone that has authority. So these two are old enemies, and they are going to have another run in during Mars retrograde. It's been many years since they've seen each other, I feel, but this is going to come up again. And it doesn't feel like the best relationship to me. It feels like very toxic. But I think that it's over silly things. These two have become enemies over some man or someone that really isn't worth arguing over, and actually they seem to have a lot in common. So those are quite specific. In a general sense, the Queen of Pentacles is a good sign for making money. So this spread is connected to business. It could be a lull in business for someone. They could be feeling pulled in many different directions. Their energy is pulled. They're wearing themselves thin, and they no longer have enough energy to focus on their job. So they need to take some time out during this Mars retrograde, recuperate, recharge, and get back in the swing of things again by Christmas.
Yeah, it all does seem to relate to the holidays are coming up, so it's a good time to, or it just is that time where we all start to take these issues on.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
yeah, I always feel like the holidays start about now. So look forward to the season, everybody.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hmm.
And then the next cards were
That was it. That was
okay.
it. Just three cards. And you know
Gotcha.
what? There was a lot of earthy energy in that, so it kind of goes along with the new moon in Virgo. So that's all earth energy. So there's a lot of earthiness there that's keeping us grounded when we need to be grounded, when things are chaotic in the world right now. We need to stay focused.
Definitely. And yeah, and one thing for people to think of, my last little bit of cosmic weather or cosmic advice, is it is Mars retrograde, and I know that I've been feeling it. I had to go on a little pilgrimage once already that kind of dug up from the past, and that resolved, and that's beautiful. But I am finding a slight energy. It reminds me of, it's different, but it reminds me a bit of Mercury retrograde. I mean,
Hmm.
they're definitely different energies, I know, but that difficulty in moving, that difficulty in that feeling of sluggishness, you might say, that feeling of just difficulty. Maybe you want to take more naps. Maybe you're a little bit not as energetic as usual. While we're in Mars retrograde, just realize that it's natural, and sometimes we need to chill and process. And so definitely, if you go to Fiona's site, if you contact her and you get your chart done, you'll know specifically how you can use this time to get the best out of it, rather than just eat a lot of frozen pizza and watch reruns.
Yeah, although I have to say that does sound tempting.
I know. I'm thinking like, man, I have a nice pizza in the fridge right now. I'm like in the freezer. I'm like, wow. And I've been like, what we've been watching is Fantasy Island reruns. There's a channel on YouTube that has all the old Fantasy Islands. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that show, but if you have a spiritual inclination, if a person has a belief in like multiple timelines, in the law of attraction, etc., you watch this old show. It was an American TV show, and I'm like, I cannot believe back in the 70s or 80s, whenever this was made, that this is some serious spiritual power. This is some stuff. I mean, this is amazing. so so
Yeah.
get your chart done, grab your frozen pizza and watch some Fantasy Island. I'll post the link in the show notes. Get
Yeah,
started.
do. Yeah, you know what? That sounds excellent. So I definitely want to watch that.
Yeah, so get started, people, and we'll see you the next fortnight.
Yep. See ya. Enjoy your pizza.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye.